Hi there, everybody. I'm Suzanne Roth-Paul. I'm a certified primal health coach and the author of the Poisons in Your Pantry ebooks. Now, I'm all about using safe products. Those of you who know me and have been with me on these podcasts before, you know that I really want us to be putting safe things only in and on our bodies. And I am the author of the Poisons in Your Pantry ebooks, which are really all about ingredient reading. And that's the next thing that we need to always focus on is keeping whatever we bring into our homes, whether it's products that we use on our body, as I said, or foods that we have in our ingredients. We want to know what those things are that we are consuming. And so that's what my ebooks are about. I highly recommend that you look at them. I have a free guide. Figure out ways that you can start looking at the things that you're using in and on your bodies. So, what I really do appreciate the most about the product reviews and why I do these conversations here in this podcast all about Lifewave, which is our wearable technology, is because it is safe and it is harmless. And what's so great about it even more is that it is a wearable product that is non-transdermal. And that means that nothing goes in and on your body when these patches are applied. And we are going to be talking today with a guest. And so we're going to talk about his testimonials. We're going to share share a story how we met, and also talking a little bit about the product that he's using in particular, which is our X39. And for those of you that are new, X39 is our signature patch that was launched in 2020. Now, this is a little non-transdermal patch. It looks like this, and it has an adhesive back. And I'm going to go ahead and put one of these on. I've had a stressful day today, and so I'm going to show you where I use our Eon patch. Now, we're not going to be talking about it, but I do product reviews on all of our patches. We have 19 of them. I want you to go back. If you haven't seen them, please do, because they're really informative and a lot of fun, and you can learn so much about health and wellness tips. I'm going to put the Eon patch right here on a part of my hand that is a lung meridian, but for whatever reason, it's a really good acupuncture location for calming the nervous system. So I just put that there to show you how easy it is to apply. So what I learned today that was interesting on another podcast was that our founder, David Schmidt. Now, some of you know that he has over 70, well, actually, he has over 200 patents. What was I talking about? I was meant that that the company has over 70 global patents. But David is pretty prolific in the world of patents. And so it's really important to know that about our founder. And it's not a new company. It's been in the business for over 20 years. And he was always fascinated by aging and what causes it. And so hence the creation of these patches that have to do with cellular health. And if you've listened to me before talk here on my podcast, if you don't have a healthy cell, your body really can't be well because our good health starts in our cells. And so there's lots of information about the type of therapy that this product is. It's called phototherapy, photobiomodulation. And this is just a non-transdermal patch that you put on, and it's not actually healing our body and causing symptom relief, which is what this is all about. These reviews are all about. It is actually helping your body do what it does naturally. So it's just your body is getting the message from this patch to start the healing and the regenerative use of our cells so that they can start to be reactivated. Because as many of us know, over the age of 60, we lose our cells go dormant, and many of us aren't making them anymore. And that's why we age prematurely, because we don't have enough good stem cells to do the rest and recovery needed for healing, rapid healing. But one of the things that was really interesting was that Lifewave in 2020 created the X39 patch. So we, prior to that, were a $20 million company. Well, when David Schmidt introduced the X39, we are now a $600 million company. And what's so fascinating about this is that there's no other patch or product like this on the market. So we really are unique in that we are providing a product that does what no other patching protocols out there will do. And so on that note, I just want to mention this is for symptom relief primarily. And we're going to be talking about my guest who is going to be talking about his personal experiences. I'll share some of mine. It's really for symptom relief in our own personal experiences. So we're not here to treat, cure, prevent any sort of disease or condition. So if you are new to LifeWave and you are seeing a health professional, just make sure that he or she knows about this product. It's perfectly safe, but just make sure for your needs that you get his blessing on using these products. Now, the other thing is LifeWave has been around, for 20 some odd years. We just celebrated our 20th anniversary on the last year, but it's in over 80 countries around the world. So it is a global company, and that makes it really, really special because you can sell this product if you are a representative anywhere in the world, and that makes it very unique. And the other is that's not a Me Too product. There isn't anything else out there that's like this. So if you are interested in representing the product, like my current the speaker that's going to be on today he just started with me, and he's very excited to get started sharing the product. He's already been doing that. He'll share some of the stories around that. So just want you to know that this is really a unique product, and we're really happy that you're here and that you're excited about being associated with a product as fabulous as LifeWave. I know I am. I've been with the company for 5 years, and I've got lots of testimonials. Again, they're all on the podcast, and I hope you'll go and watch a lot of these videos that have already been shared with other top speakers that we have in the industry, and specifically with LifeWave, that have shared their own stories and testimonials of how this product has not only helped them, but their communities. Okay, so on to my client and my speaker today. Excuse me, my guest speaker today. Warren Vail is going to tell his story. Dr. Warren Vail, my apologies, Warren, that he has experienced just in the short time that he's been using the patches, but he also was using them before. And he is what I call a animal and a human horse whisperer. Dr. Vail is really talented in the energy healing capacity. Had the pleasure of having a massage with him. It's not really a massage, but I thought it was going to be that, but it really is energy work that he does on my spine. He works primarily, he'll turn you over and work on the front as well as the back, but a lot of times he's not even touching you. So he really is gifted in the area of this kind of energy healing and energy work that is even what the patches are doing, because it is based on energy, it's based on light, photobiomodulation. This is just another way of explaining how unusual some of these treatments are, but they're so powerful in the techniques that are being used. And Dr. Vail is quite capable and talented in using his own energy to heal bodies. And then he's working with horses, and he'll share more about how that works. Nice to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my
How are you
goodness.
today?
I'm good. And there's your backdrop that is so beautiful that I'll just briefly introduce you as, Dr. Warren, because I saw you on a virtual coaching program we were doing, and you had that beautiful image of that Palomino behind you. And I said,
Mhm.
"Oh my goodness, I got to talk to him about the patches for animals," and that you're a chiropractor, and I was really excited, and it was even more enjoyable to find out that when we connected that you actually live in my area. So I love the fact that we've been able to collaborate. We've gotten together numerous times. You've done some treatments on me that have been profound, and I look forward to another one very soon here. But yeah, so why don't you dive in, share a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I actually was a wrestler, and in my freshman all the way to my senior year, I was actually helping other wrestlers get ready for the matches, and I would actually adjust them. I didn't even know I was doing chiropractic, but I would adjust their mid backs, sometimes their wrists and hands, and get them warmed up and ready for their matches. So then I went off and did a stint in the army and came back, and the two wrestling buddies of mine that were they'd always talk about going home and getting chiropractic adjustments from their dad, and I never knew what that meant. By the time I got to see them, they became chiropractors, and I got my first adjustment from a wrestling teammate. And it was like I went from seeing black and white to color. It was so profound for me, and I was just amazed by that. And later on, probably 4 or 5 years later, I decided to become a chiropractor.
Okay.
So yeah, and I graduated from Life Chiropractic College West in the East Bay back in 1989.
Okay. And
And I
then where's your
moved down-
connection with horses?
well, I've always loved horses, and I moved down to the San Diego area. I was in North County, they call it. And in 1992, after doing some work with Donnie Epstein's Network Chiropractic, I started adjusting rescue horses over in San Marcos, Poway area. And that's when I first started working on horses. And this particular horse behind me here, this is Summer, and I had gone. I'll start. The long story is I went off to Maui in 2005, and I didn't have a reciprocal chiropractic license. So I gave up my license in California and started doing healing work over there. Had my own horses over there, and then moved back here
Mm-hmm.
2018, and then took about a 5 year break from having horses. And then Summer came into my life through a friend. She said, "Hey, I've got this friend who really needs some help with their horse." And I had heard this woman's name several times and never met her. And then finally, we started texting back and forth about Summer, and I agreed to meet up with her. And what was funny is that we were dancers, and I danced quite a bit. And I saw her on the dance floor on a Saturday, and I was supposed to meet her on Sunday. So I was on the dance floor, and I went by her and kind of went like I was riding a horse, and she looked at me like I was an idiot. And at the end of the dance, I came up to her and said, "I'll see you tomorrow." And she goes, "Who are you?"
Uh-huh.
I said, "Well, I'm Warren. I'm supposed to meet you with your horse tomorrow." She goes, "Oh." She had
Now
no
I get
clue.
it. Yeah,
She had
yeah,
no
yeah,
clue
yeah.
who I was.
She thought that was a fancy dance move. She's like,
It
"What? I've
was.
never seen that one before."
It was
Yes,
very
Warren, you
fancy.
are an amazing dancer too. I've had the pleasure of doing some moves with you here at a party we had here in my house. But so that's interesting. And I do want to just make a note here that the woman you're talking about is Dr. Jacqueline Chan. And what's so
Yeah,
funny was she was the doctor who actually helped me over close to almost 15 years ago when I started on my journey for, turning my health around. And it was another coincidence and another commonality that we had was that
right,
her horse, you got introduced to the patches through her. So why don't you talk about how
right.
that happened, and then we can jump into how you started using them.
So all of a sudden, I'm seeing Summer and working on her a little bit. And I had always said when I worked on horses at horse shows,
Hmm.
um, I was doing that in California before I went to Maui, and I would always get this. I wanted to, you just work on my horse, or just work on me. I don't want my horse worked on as well, or I don't have the money for me as well as the horse. And I always wanted to work on both. And so
Ah,
Jonathan was the first one that actually was an opportunity where I worked on the horse and the rider, or the
oh,
horse.
wonderful. Okay. And then
And
you
so
mean
my
doing your
first,
adjustments.
yeah, and my first date with Summer, the horse, was when I basically like fell in love with Summer, and then a week later I fell in love with Jacqueline. So
Not hard.
she introduced, yeah, not hard at all. She introduced me to the X39, and I
Okay.
had seen some videos, and what was really impressive about these videos was this man would just run his hand along the rump of the horse to find a place where it twitches.
Hmm. Hmm.
And he would do it over and over again. And every time he got to that point, the horse would twitch. And it's usually a sign of irritation or tightness, something like that.
Discomfort. Hmm.
And then he would put the patch right where he felt the twitch. And then he would run his hand down the back of the horse again, and there'd be no twitch. And I saw him on the videos do it several times. And I actually applied that same thing when I worked on Summer. And
Hmm.
it was like magic. The horse would be like all of a sudden there's this calmness that would come about, and they seem to be out of discomfort or pain. And it was really immediate. You take the patch off, and the discomfort might come back again. So
Hmm.
we left the patches on a long time for her. Um, we didn't we didn't patch her like 12 hours. I saw her once a day typically.
Hmm.
So sometimes the patch would stay on longer than they recommend for people. But I don't
Right.
think there was ever any problem with that. And
Definitely. Yeah.
really enjoyed using the patches on Summer, and then I forgot all about it
Hmm.
until sometime later. Another friend had some patches that she wasn't using, so I gathered up some more X39s. And in October, I was at a dance, and someone jumped on me with my legs were spread apart a little bit. My right knee went to the ground
Uh-oh.
immediately, so a lot of pain,
Hmm.
and I couldn't put any weight on it, and it made a popping sound. I go, I'm in trouble.
Uh-oh.
So I went to the side of the dance floor, put my hands on it, started doing some work on it myself, and a friend came by to help. And then I started patching it. I did it. I just intuitively knew to put one patch above where the pain was and one below. So I had two patches on my knee. And I did that for probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 days.
Hmm.
And initially I was moving the next day.
Wow.
So I had
This
52.
was the X39 again. You were using the
Yeah,
X39. Okay.
right. And I was most supposed to move the next day. And I have 52 steps. So I hired someone to help that day. And then by 4 days later, I was walking up and down the steps
Hmm.
with loads to get myself moved. And within 1 month, I think I was at least 90 to 95% better.
Okay.
And that's compared to a knee injury I had 2 years ago, which was my left knee that took almost 3 months to heal. And it swelled up like a balloon. And I had acupuncture and all kinds of things to kind of try to get that swelling to go down.
Uh-huh.
This time, my knee didn't swell up at all.
Oh, using the patch.
Using the patch, yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And I basically forgot about it again for a while. Once my knee, it's like typical. I just
Uh-huh.
use something for a while, and when I get the results, I stop using it.
Uh-huh. Very
And
common.
yeah, very too common. And
Yeah,
then
it is actually true.
one day I realized, oh, I've got these patches. I should try them. And I put it on the back of my neck here where people put them.
Yep.
And I played volleyball. And I had just started playing volleyball again on the beach on a sand court here in Sausalito. And I had been playing about 2 months after like about 5 years of not playing at all. And I could not miss the ball that day. I go, what the heck is different? Because it was a huge dramatic increase in my abilities that day. And this is after dancing 2 hours, and I go play volleyball for another 2 or 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized, oh, I've got a patch on.
Ah.
And ever since then, I've been more regular about wearing my patches, the 39,
Uh-huh.
X39. And then at dance camp, I
Just
recently,
recently.
yeah, I recently went to a dance camp I was up there for almost 2 weeks. And I must have given patches out to at least 10 different people for many different things,
Mm-hmm.
mostly dance type injuries, sometimes back pain, sometimes knee pain. This one young lady, really super active, super very athletic actually too. She was hobbling around with crutches initially, and after a while we started seeing her walking around and with a cane initially, and then walking around without anything. So I think she had some really good results. Um, several of us worked on her a little bit as well. So I love the synergy that I
Mm-hmm.
find with the patches. So if I'm working on somebody and I patch them up as well, I just find that people are getting much more healing occurring in those sessions.
Oh yeah, I've done some tests with chiropractors before where the chiropractor will take the client into the room, lay them down, adjust them, do what is necessary. Kind of you can evaluate where they are. They've got kinks, they're stiff, they're out of alignment, and then she'll see where they are, and then she'll before she adjusts them, she sends them back out to me, and I'll patch them on their areas that are needed based on what she says. Then they'll go back in, and then she'll find that the system has completely regulated itself to calm,
Mhm.
and she's able to get the movement to be much more effective. And then she also finds out
Easier
that,
too.
pardon?
They're probably a lot easier. She's probably not competing with muscles that are tight.
Yes, and she's really been shocked to see the difference. And what's interesting is a lot of people are still kind of skeptical about them because they feel that it's odd to just put something on like that, and how could it possibly work? And
No,
that's why
I've had
we do
so
these
many
products.
people.
Yes, and
Many
that's
people get immediate results.
yeah, and I did want to emphasize two things. One thing I wanted to mention that where you were probably using the X39 on Summer, the horse,
Mhm.
rather than the actual patch. We do have an AccuLife patch for horses, and I have a whole product review on that. But horse owners, as you know, Warren, are very particular. They're very
Particular is the word.
particular, and they're very fastidious about their animals. Those of us who've had horses know that they can be like humans. They're better than a big old dog. Some of them can be like that. So they're very particular about what they do and put on their horses. So they wanted their own product line name that's specifically for horses. And then they had to do all the product reviews. They had to go through he had to go and do lots of, he's got a patent on that patch too, because he had to do what the due diligence of finding out and making sure it worked on the horses. And my understanding is that the horses' bodies are very similar to humans, and that's why there's a lot of products out there. I have a Beamer, and I've talked about it before. There's a horse Beamer, and my sisters use that. That's the red light therapy. You lay the blanket all on the horse, and it kind of does
Right.
the same exact thing as the patches, but the beauty of it is the patches can stay on, and they don't have this heavy blanket on them because these the
And you
Beamer,
don't need electricity.
and they don't need electricity, and it's you can just patch their knees, you can patch their hoof area. I have a sister who patched a horse who had like an abscess, and overnight it broke open the abscess, and actually it helped it to release itself and to drain, and the horse could walk the next day. So there's all these miraculous things, but horses are very similar to how they react to these patches and to products that humans do, which makes them even more like human-like, and probably
Yeah.
why they're such a good animal for what you're doing with working with them, with people with PTSD. Or maybe you can just touch on
Mhm.
that. What do you do with horses? I mean, what's the beauty of working
Well,
with them?
fortunately, I'm on a horse ranch now. I finally found myself living on a horse ranch. It's a dream I've had for years. I
Hmm.
actually wrote out my my perfect day or my perfect week or something like that, and I was like, I'm waking up on a horse ranch
Yes, you
with
are.
my partner. Fortunately, I don't have the partner yet, but I've got the
Yeah,
horse ranch at least, where I'm with three horses that are they're kept pretty well. They get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's a new one for me. I've had
crazy.
horses
Yes, yes.
using
We only fed our horses
breakfast and
twice a
lunch.
day,
Yeah,
morning and evening, and they went
yeah.
a long day in between before they ate.
Right. Well,
Mhm.
these horses are pretty well kept, and I can't wait to get the patches just for horses and start working with these guys on it. I
Yeah.
also work with equine rescues, and
Mm.
there's another group I work with, have done a little bit down in Petaluma called SARA, which is Sonoma Equine Rescue Rehab and Adoption.
Uh-huh.
And with those horses, I do my horse assisted education. So that's what I'm doing with horses on the ground. There's no riding. And
Hmm.
it's basically coaching using horses because they're so able to see into our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. And,
Uh-huh.
and they have the ability to see through our masks or our facades and give us
Yes.
honest feedback. They don't care what kind of car you drove up in, what your title is, what your bank account is. They're going to give you the feedback that, okay, you're either present and accounted for, or you're off thinking about something else, and they're not going to do what you'd like them to do.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. They feel the emotions. Being with horses, I'm very conscientious of that growing up with them. Okay, well, that's interesting. And the other part of that too, with working with horses is
Mhm.
they do talk about the fact that they have this innate wisdom, to
Mhm.
tap into, like we were just saying, the emotion, but they're just
They're even spiritual.
and
There's a lot of work with horses on the spiritual planes, and people. I just saw a book today that I got on Audible about the spirit, something to do with the spiritual aspect of horses, written by a pastor, I think.
Mhm, mhm.
And the other part of it that's really amazing is the healing that can happen just by being in the presence of a horse because of their heart frequency,
Yes.
their field around them is so much bigger. Ours goes out, it's measured out about 5 feet from our bodies, and the horses are about 10 times that. So
Wow.
we're in the area in relative to a horse, your heart and their heart energy is interacting, and people get a lot of amazing healing. I'm going to a preview on Sunday for a movie called Rescued Hearts.
Yeah, I saw that you sent to me. That sounds
That's
fascinating.
amazing, and I hope to talk to the director and maybe some of the people that were in the.
Oh,
Someday I'd like to be in a documentary or a movie like that as well. But
oh,
my goal is to have a person in the field with horses around coming able to be able to just share their energy with people while I'm working on them on a table. There's a woman
yeah,
that does that.
yeah, and it's that the horses come up and sniff on. They can come up and muzzle on you and kind of just be around
Mhm.
you, and it's really powerful. Well, and then we also have the horses that are rescues that are really mistreated, thoroughbreds we know are mistreated. My sister was working for horse rescue group at one point, and she was treating a lot of these horses that
Mhm.
eventually had to be put down. Their nervous systems were so off, and we didn't have the patches then. This has been a good 10 years ago when she
Mhm.
was working with them. But we do know that when you put the patches on, if you are interested, you're watching this, the recording. There are amazing videos online where they're showing how they patch these horses that are obviously high strung, and then within seconds they can get them to calm down to get the patch on them, different places on their body, whether it's an injured leg, hindquarters, the back, because the back is obviously a very sensitive area because everybody, when you're horseback riding, you got the saddle on, you've got all the weight, you get rubbing, you get irritations there with riding on with the big saddle on, and of course the person riding them. And as soon as they put the patch on, it just takes seconds, like you said, for the horse
Well,
to calm down. And so,
mhm.
what an amazing thing to be able to give these animals that are so intuitive to begin with, that they know that they're being mistreated. That's the
Mhm.
power. I mean, that's the part that's the hardest is many of them know the mistreatment is there. All animals do, but I
Yeah.
just think that horses are special and unique in that way. And there's so many products out there for horses.
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh,
I've worked
yeah.
on a lot of people, and their cats sometimes will come and lay on them, lay on their legs or on their back when I'm working on them. Dogs also will pay a lot of attention. I just had a client earlier today, and
Uh-huh.
her dog was like right there until she felt totally at ease or whatever, and then she went and laid down. But she's like right there with her
Oh,
muzzle on the
yes.
person or on the table
Yes.
next to the person, checking it out, making sure it's going right.
I know that's so
But
sweet.
in
That's
the
why we love
energy,
we love our animals and that energy. Yes, I've had plenty of animals in my past that I know that they're capable of that. So let's talk a minute about the fact that you did just start with me as a brand partner. You were working with, it's not that I took you away from Dr. Chan or anybody for that matter. They weren't really doing the business.
he
And you
wasn't interested in doing the business at the time.
Yeah, and you were also using other people had given you products or you bought them from them or what are the patches. So you just started with me as a brand partner, which congratulations, and I'm so excited for us to do a lot more in collaboration. We'll hope you'll come back and you'll do more conversations with us here too about your experiences because this is an open forum for testimonials. We love to hear from people that are experiencing it for
I do have
themselves.
one more testimonial from the dance camp.
Yeah.
Um, this is one I forgot about, but I personally was having issues where I thought I had a kidney stone.
Yes.
And I was severely in pain for about 4 days. And then I remembered about the patches and I started putting it on right below my belly button, which is
Okay.
the
Yeah.
place you put it, either back here or below your belly button. And the symptoms really started to go away. And I thought, oh, well, I'm out of the woods.
Hmm.
And I stopped patching and it came back. I went to the ER to determine what it was, and it was a UTI, which is kind of rare for men. And but I realized that I think it was really helping
Kind
so
of
much.
kept it at bay.
I thought it was gone,
Yes.
and
Yes.
then I stopped patching, and it started the symptoms slowly built back up until
Yeah.
I went on antibiotics. But I was really kind of amazed that they could even help with something like that.
Oh,
And
yes.
possibly if I had kept patching, I would have been out of the woods maybe all the way.
And when you told me about it, I did tell you, I said, oh, get on the patches right away for two reasons. First of all, it helps. The second of all is you had to get on antibiotics. So, of course, we know that they wreck the gut. Antibiotics do a lot of damage to our flora and fauna in our tummy. And so we don't want to be, abusing antibiotics, but in an emergency like that. But a lot of times, had Warren known about these before if he knew it was a UTI or something, you can patch down below the pelvis area, even closer to the blood. We have clients that have kidney stones, for instance, or they'll have UTIs, like you said, or they've got all kinds of, vaginal and or pelvic floor issues in their gut and lower, and they'll put them down below, right along the pelvic line at the bottom, and you can
Mhm.
use our YAGE system, which is the glutathione, carnosine, and eon, and that's a whole nother conversation, which people can go back and watch the product reviews on those, but we'll often put those there and then use the X39 on the neck or below the belly. And Warren, I don't know if you're just learning about all the patches, but we
Right.
have governing vessels, which is a term for different parts of the body for meridians where we place these patches. And same thing with
Acupuncture. Yep.
acupuncture. And the governing vessel that's on the below the the neck and top of the spine, that's governing the upper part of the body and the nervous system and the brain and different parts of the body that is, obviously divided in half on our body. Then below our belly button, but there's two different vessels, and the lower, below the belly button is for the lower extremities, and it's a lot of times for the organs. And so when you have like,
I wonder if it's the vagus nerve or something like that that's affected by it.
well, the vagus nerve, yes, is runs through our entire body and starts up, in our neck and behind our spine. But
Right.
yes, it is part of that. The vagus nerve runs through the body. But those two locations are what we use the X's for, and
Hmm.
and specifically. But never forget that these patches are really effective on the point of pain or the point of injury or the point of
I
issue.
know that one.
You proved it, and I do want to mention a couple. I mentioned this to Warren, and I mentioned it to a new client, potential client who was trying the patches, and she had plantar fasciitis or whatever on her foot.
Right.
And
Hmm.
I said, I don't even know if I pronounced that right. But she said, I told her, I said, if you put the X39 there, I gave her other products to use, but I said, if you put the X39 there, 50% of the population feels it right away for pain relief. And you were lucky with your knee. The other 50% of the population does not. And it has to do with how long you've had the injury, what kind of injury it is, and then particularly what else is going on in your body. Because let's just say you've got an injured knee, but it's not killing you, but you have an organ that needs help, or you've got
Right.
that are in trouble, or you've got, emotional stuff that needs to be dealt with, or your DNA has to be supported and your genes. It goes the gamut, and the patch is going to help support where it's needed the most. And so,
Like triage. It's going
yeah,
to go where it's needed the most. And then,
absolutely. And so what we do now is, and again, I've talked about this before, is if people have pain and they also have some other emotional issues and or they're just unwell, we always give the X39 along with the Eon patch, because Eon patch was David's signature patch prior to 2020, before he was able to get out the X39, which activates our dormant stem cell, helps support our dormant stem cells by a copper peptide. So this copper peptide is what actually gets activated by, getting the absorbing what's on the patch. It's reflecting is this light and energy that it goes to certain areas to start the work, activating those dormant stem cells that can go to work on healing. And so it doesn't
mhm.
always work. And I just tell people, I encourage people to have a good supply of the patches so that you can play with them and not to give up, because it
Mhm.
is really important. So I had given her, for instance, I gave her some ice wave patches for pain, and I gave her Eon for inflammation reduction and anti-inflammatory, and then I gave her the X39 to also play around with. Use it on the two governing vessels that we talked about in the neck or the belly, and then put those others on the point of pain. And then if it doesn't work, move it around, because it's that
Mhm.
I like to say, if the patch doesn't work, keep moving it until it does, because it's going to work. So you were fortunate that you've had really good luck with the X39, and I think it's also because you're pretty healthy. You don't seem to have a lot of health issues. You're strong. You don't fatigue easily. I have to give you some challenges on your diet sometimes. I'm teasing you, but a lot of it is really the
I
fact that
like my sugar,
you like your sugar, and we're moving you on
chocolate.
to the right kinds of sweet, but I think a little bit is attitude, and you certainly come with everything with a very positive approach. And I think that's probably the most important. And what I like working with you on is that you do have that ability to just say, hey, we'll figure it out together. This
Mhm.
is not the end of the world. Life is too short to be stressing about things that seem to be irrelevant or not to be such a big deal. It's all perspective. So let's
Mhm.
see, was there anything else I did want to ask you? We did talk a little bit about, obviously, we spoke about the horses and such, but how do you see yourself using this, being a chiropractor? How do you see yourself introducing the product to people and how have you been talking to them about it? Because you're new and you know what you know because of what you've experienced. But
Mhm.
what's getting people to actually try these? Because a lot of us can't even get people to put them on. What have you done at your dance events to convince them to try this?
Well, the easy part is I wear them. So when they see me dancing and not fatiguing and things like that, oftentimes they say, "What are you doing? What's your workout?
Hmm.
How are you, why is your endurance so high or whatever?" because I can wear people out just by dancing around them and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still jumping around and they're going, I need a break. So I wear them on the back of my neck. And I remember being on a call one time and someone says, I wear them on all kinds of strange places so people see them. I haven't done that yet, but I did wear one on my neck one time in my front of my neck just to see if someone would notice. And I think just being the example and wearing them in places where I'm very active, also on the volleyball court, I've talked to people on the volleyball court about it as well. I like the word of mouth and being the example. And so I'm definitely going to be doing that at the dances still. The clients that I had a client today, and I saw your text after you texted me about talking to her about it, and
Oh,
I forgot to mention it. But I'll see her again next week, so that won't be a problem to let her know. I do see introducing it to the horses out here at the
oh.
ranch I'm at, but also the rescues.
Mhm.
And there's other rescues in the area that I'd like to go to as well to start talking to them about these patches and get them involved. There's another thing I'm starting to do more of is being guests on podcasts. And so what I see doing there is maybe wearing it on the front of my neck just to make.
Well, I'm going to just tell you that I don't have mine on today because I'm actually home and I haven't been out much today. So a lot of us, when we started going to the Lifewave convention where you had, thousands of people, everybody was wearing a patch like right below their thyroid, which their thyroid
Mhm,
is here, and that's the master gland, excuse me, of our master hormones. And
mhm,
they were all wearing it there for a virus protection. And it really is a powerful location. And so
mhm,
people will ask me why I do that. And I'm like, it's protecting me from viruses, catching things, being out in public a lot. So just FYI, you were doing, helpful. That we wear the glutathione because that
okay.
glutathione is our master antioxidant in immune support in our cells. And so we do have a glutathione patch, which is just brilliant that David Schmidt created something. He was such an amazing individual in that he thought of it all through back 20 years ago about what our bodies needed the most. And he was
Mhm,
very aware of things well before we are. People know what glutathione means because I think COVID opened the world to our immune system being trashed and giving us
mhm.
much trouble when people got sick and why.
Um,
Mhm.
I actually have a new sweetie that has some issues with her thyroid, so I'm actually going to recommend that she puts either the X39 or the glutathione
Well,
on her neck.
and again, we have an SB6 patch that has over 1,000 views. It's the most popular viewed patch right now because it's about hormone balancing, and
Hmm.
everybody's hormones are messed up because really what happens, our hormones are really what regulates our body, but our cell health is what supports the hormones. And so, because we're made
They're
of
all interconnected.
everything's connected, but it really does start with our little cell. And there's like millions of cells in our body. And so the hormones get dysregulated, then it just shows it's a domino effect of all the other things that go wrong in our body. And that's why we're so hyper vigilant as health coaches, wellness experts like yourself, Warren, where we really do know the value of keeping the toxins out and knowing you have to detoxify every day nowadays because we're just being overburdened. People who listen to me know I talk about this all the time and they know me well because I'm always saying we've got to keep that cell as healthy as possible. And these patches do that. And so we have like the gamut of what you can choose from, but we want to go back to you definitely want to be starting with the X39. I'm so happy that you've had good results with it for yourself. X49 that David introduced during COVID. So it was actually in 2022, I believe, that people were calling and asking, what do I do about, having to either get the vaccine or having had COVID? And this is a cardiovascular supportive patch. So this is really good for athletes. So
Hmm.
you're an athlete, you definitely do these beautiful dances. You lift us over your head, have to on your back. I mean, it's amazing the things you can do with when you're dancing. But these two patches are basically our signature patches. And right now, I do want to mention that let's see, we've got until the 15th, so we're getting a little close. But Lifewave is offering, if you're a brand partner, and even if you want to buy retail, you can do this as well, that you can buy both of these patches, this set for $179. So they're usually as a Lifewave brand partner or preferred member, you get them for 99 each, this 30-day supplies. if you want it. So that's $200. But if you combine them, you get them for 180, 179. So you save $20. And now they're the patch I just put on my hand, the Eon, which is inflammation. It's an amazing, oh my goodness, I can't even tell you all the great things. Nervous system support, definitely anti-anxiety. You're getting a pack of the Eon for free. So
Wow.
that's a $69, $70 value with one sleeve that you get 30-day supply. So it's really generous that they're doing this, but it's only till the 15th of August. This is 2025 if you're watching the recording and you see that you passed that. But we've been doing a lot more promotional things to encourage people to try the products. And even for
Suzanne,
you.
there's one more thing that
Mhm.
I don't know if I was wanting to mention this, but I'm excited about the X20 coming out soon. The water that I'm
So the
really,
X2O, I like the way you called it
yeah,
X2O. So what is interesting, yes, I did a product review on just a simple one on the last two was on our latest new products, which is the water system that's coming out any day now. And that's going to be another catapulting our cell health beyond imagine. And it's not going to be a water machine that you drink every day, all throughout the day on. It's one glass a day that's going to help infuse, it's in water infused light. It's going to
right. I
be
think
in
it's one
this.
in the morning and one at night even. So it's not like you have to drink a lot of it or anything.
It's one glass a day.
One
It's
glass a day.
one glass a day, and
I
there's
might sneak two.
well, there, that's the thing that is going to be interesting is talking to like, is more better? And David's probably going to say no, but I guess we'll learn. But the other part of it is too that we have the Cellergize supplement line, and I've been using that pretty steadily now for over a week. I just got it, and I don't know if you, Warren, have tried. I have it some
Right,
we.
yeah.
I can get you some to try, but that's actually David's saying that if you're pretty healthy, like you are, that you probably don't need anything more than these powders because he's covered the gamut to support the patches. He's covered it in a powder form. So when you drink it and then you drink the water, it's going to like just, profoundly improve the quality of your insides and your cells. And so
May
he's
have to try out for the Olympics again.
definitely, we're all going to be candidates for the Olympics. Thank you, David. So it's funny how the beauty of it for those of us that are in our 50s, 60s, 70s, we've got the gamut of ages that we're seeing such amazing results just by using these products the way we are. And I can't say enough about the compliments I get on my skin, the compliments I get on my hair, just vitality. This is what life is really all about.
Mhm.
And it's safe. And even putting them on those horses, you're not traumatizing any of these animals by injections and surgeries and
Right.
of that nature. And I think you know that because you've been around a lot of the animals. So let's see, was there anything else
One
that you
other thing you
wanted to?
mentioned, um, some people that don't see the results right away, if they
Mm.
keep using it for a while, isn't there like what's the guarantee? How many days?
Oh, yes. So there's a 3-month money back guarantee. And the reason why they do that is because it takes anywhere from 2 months to 3 months for the body to really start healing, especially if you've had something for a long time. So that's about the time that you're going to start seeing some improvement, no matter what it is. It might not be exactly not going to resolve the issue, but it can start showing some symptoms. You might start feeling better. You might start sleeping better. You might have more energy. So yes, a 3-month money back guarantee, but they want unopened. So if you have bought some and you're not going to keep them, return those kindly. But they do give you that guarantee. But I will tell you, over the 50 clients that I've had over the years that have been using this, if not more, they never return them. Some people just fall off because they quit using them. But there's never been a need to return them because most people do experience something and so that's the first thing. And then the new thing they've introduced to Warren that I've talked about again a couple of times with a couple of my product reviews with some of my past upline team members was that for the whole year, you're going to get a free sleeve of a 10 pack of every single patch that is in the line throughout the year. And you're going to be bonused at the very last year into the year long membership, you're going to end up with your own sleeve that you want. They may give you a couple. If you're retail buying, you're going to still get the benefits. You're going to get some bonuses. And if you're wholesale buying, of course, you're going to get 20% off of all of the products, but you're going to get this 10 pack of sleeve of product of all of the 19 patches that David has made. And I think it's a very kind gesture to be able to try them all. And
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and so it's a really good promo for preferred members that don't want to become brand partners. And then brand partners, there's all kinds of bonuses for making, they're giving us 9 ways to make a profit now and make money, which is really encouraging us to get out there and share more because the more
Mhm.
people that you can talk to and enlighten, the healthier our world's going to be. It's all about, quality of life. And
Mhm.
if you can get people off of medications, which is so harmful, and you can and I'm not a doctor here, and you are, and you know what I'm talking about. If you can support people from not having to get surgeries or having to take medications, we know that our bodies long term are going to thrive. They have to. And our bodies innately has the ability to heal. You know that
Mhm.
when
As
given
above, so
when given
below.
the opportunity.
The other thing you mentioned was all the resources on Telegram. Did you
Oh,
want to talk about that?
yes. Thank you for mentioning that. So you just signed up and we've got you on, but our particular team, our team in motion is different from other teams. Everybody's got their way of communicating, but we do have a very comprehensive Telegram app, a Telegram list of links that you can go onto. There's a Q&A where you can go any time of the day, 24 hours, and ask a question about a specific symptom you have or a symptom your customer has, your family has, your friends, whether you're a brand partner or not. You just go in there and you can ask a question, and there's a slew of us that are only happy to answer as fast as we can. So you're going to get different opinions, but they'll tell you how to patch. Which patches do you use, for instance? Like, if somebody's got a foot injury or a condition, we don't talk about UTIs, we don't talk about Alzheimer's, we don't talk about heart disease. We just mentioned that we're going to treat the symptoms. But if you can, so you're going to get all of this support. We have trainings 5 days a week, every night, different times. I happen to be one of them on Thursdays, but you're going to get trainings that are, really incredible. Lots of testimonials from other teams. I mean, once you get it, immerse yourself into the world, you'll find that there's other things going on just outside of our team that really does help you. And that's where I was watching another video, Warren, on just the fact that, David is catapulted. The company has gone from a 400, what did I say here? What was
20, 20 million to
I said
400 million?
40, yeah, 40 million prior to X39 to now a 600 million. And it
600.
and going gangbusters. It's still one of the hottest direct sales companies on the market today. And that's a 3,000% increase since 2018. And David's just constantly creating. He's got a lot of things up his sleeve because he knows that at some
That's
point
funny. You said sleeve.
he's got a lot up his sleeves. Exactly. He's got a lot of sleeves there. Well, we know we love these products and you've heard me and seen me covered in them. And I think that's just the beauty of what this product is about. I can't talk enough about it. Warren, you're
There's a
also
convention coming up in October that he'll probably introduce some of these new products as well, probably.
there will be the convention in October. I hope that if everybody is here on talking to me today and you're going to be there, I love to meet you. I've had so many. Last year, I had the pleasure of meeting a lot of people that enjoy the podcast and get to see them in person instead of just seeing their names show up. So yes, Warren, I'm working on you joining me. We've got some opportunities. We have a ticket for you if you're ready to come along. And so we have to obviously be there. We had such a great time and you're a dancer, so there was a lot of dancing. But I'm not sure how he's going to pull it off this time because in Texas we had an outdoor area that was incredible to dance and to be outside and listen to all this music. And so we did a fair amount of dancing outside, which you would be right up your alley. And I really am looking forward to coming back here and hearing about your personal clients' results. Bring on your testimonials. How do we get a horse on? You're just going to have to go into the ranch there and talk to a few of the horses and introduce us to them once you start using. Do any of the horses have anything right now that you'd like to be using for them?
Well, actually, one has a potential neck injury from yesterday. He got his muzzle caught up on the fence. He was trying to get his muzzle off
Oh
and
dear.
got caught up on the fence. And he actually broke a fence post.
Oh
And he's a
no.
miniature. He's not a miniature. He's a cross between a miniature and a full-grown horse. So he's a pony sized.
Yeah.
So we're gonna check and see how his neck is doing. I think the vet might have come out today, but I'd like to
Stick a
pass.
patch on him. Stick a poor thing. Yeah, because he was yanking and pulling, and horses are
Yeah,
notorious for getting themselves into precarious situations, and
and hurting themselves.
they panic. Because I
Yeah.
had them. I have a horrific story about my pony when he was young. So I remember that, the trauma that they induce on themselves, especially if they're on ropes they have muzzles, they have any sort of contraption on their body that can get
Right.
caught because they love to scratch and they have a
Yeah.
tendency to get on things and scratch. All right, Warren. Well, listen, I really appreciate it. I look forward to having you on. Thank you for sharing. And
Okay.
do come back and see me again and let's do this again and tell some more horse stories and human stories.
Sounds great.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Take
Thanks so
care.
much. Bye, everybody.